guardians to give back to society what is expected of them. On their part, parents change and adapt as their children grow. And forming a connection with your child is important to developing a strong parent-child relationship. Now, how well do you know your child? How do you rate your parent-child relationship? Can you beat your chest as a parent and say, my child is a blessing to society and not a burden? In 2020, we were told that NSAS protest was hijacked by hoodlums, and it took a drastic turn that still affects the society today. From one state to another, we hear sad stories about nefarious activities of hoodlums. And I ask, how do a child carried for 9 months, like any other, turn to a hoodlum in Nigeria? Who are their parents? Some say the hoodlums are children of the poor denied quality education. But there are counter opinions that the history should be traced back to parents and child relationship. This story shall be explored in our package tonight on parenting tips to strengthening parent-child relationship and subtle abuse. Also on the lineup tonight, the latest lovebirds in town set Enugu on gleeful mood over the weekend as they walked down the aisle. Also coming up, demolition of illegal structures and evacuation of parked heavy-duty lorries as IFAD on supervision mission rates Enugu State high on project implementation. These and more on Rendezvous tonight. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I am Comfort Ayim, but first the news. The federal government led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the nomination of 2 new ministers to add to his cabinet. The newly nominated ministers are Dr. Jamila Ibrahim to serve as the Minister of Youth, pending her confirmation by the Senate. Also, the President approved Ayodele Olawande to serve as the Minister of State for Youth, pending his confirmation by the Senate. Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngilali, made this available to newsmen earlier today. He explained that Dr. Jamila Ibrahim is a young medical doctor who recently served as the president of the Progressive Young Women Forum, while Ayodele Olawande is a community development expert and youth leader in the governing All Progressives Congress APC. President Tinubu used the opportunity and admonished the above-mentioned nominees to ensure that they consistently reflect the dynamism, innovative zeal, and unyielding productivity that are synonymous with the young people of Nigeria as they discharge their duties. Meanwhile, International Funds for Agricultural Development Value Chain Program IFAD VCPP has rated Enugu State high on the project implementation of reducing rural poverty, thereby boosting food sufficiency and security in the state. The national coordinator of the agency, Dr. Fatima Liu, gave the hint during IFAD Value Chain Development Program with supervision mission in Enugu. Kelechi Ochiaha was there.
Enugu State is among the 9 states in Nigeria currently benefiting from federal government-assisted International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD. This specialized agency of the United Nations works to reduce poverty and promote economic growth among rural farmers. Hence, the need for the supervision mission in Enugu State to evaluate the project implementation of the additional finances so far and the impact on the rural farmers from the benefiting local governments of Aniri, Nkanu East, Enugu East, Isuzo, and Udenu. The national coordinator, IFA Dr. Fatima Aliyu, applauded the impressive performance of Enugu State VCDP, which she described as a huge success.
So as we extend the success stories, we are also going to identify our key challenges and bottlenecks to smooth program implementation. And once we do that, we have a team of international consultants from within the country and outside the country.
Representing the Enugu State Commissioner for Agriculture, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Victor Ungu, pledged government continued support to Enugu State Value Chain Development Program in actualizing its potentials in the state.
This aligns perfectly well with the goal of our government, which is to reduce hunger to 0% rates. We are showing that our partnership
The State Program Coordinator, Enugu VCDP, Dr. Edward Joka Isiwu, said the program takes a holistic and demand-driven approach to addressing constraints along the cassava and rice value chains through supporting small farm holders with agro inputs and equipment to boost agricultural produce.
IFAD VCDP program and the Enugu State Development Program is almost the same in agriculture, so we have to follow suit. My government has been so supportive. We have overachieved the components of the program. We have tried to excel in that area. We're not making. I make boast to say it anywhere. We make no mistake, saying what was not there. We have the facts, we have the figures, we have everything for people to, check.
The Enugu State IFAD VCDP Thanks Supervision Mission drew foreign investors, agricultural stakeholders, and rural benefiting farmers, including the Gender Action Learning Group of Enugu State VCDP. In Enugu, Kelechi Ochiara, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Governor Peter Mbah has signed the Enugu State Electricity Bill into law, describing the law as a major step towards economic growth. The governor noted that the law is a significant and very important law towards achievement of his administration's loved dream of wealth creation, as industries and private investment cannot be realized without electricity. The governor said following the Constitutional Amendment and Electricity Act 2023, electricity is now on the concurrent lists, adding that through their regulatory commission, the law has given them power to create and regulate the activities of the generation, transmission, and the distribution company. The signing of the bill was witnessed by the Deputy Speaker, Enugu State House of Assembly, and other state government functionaries. Let's take a break now. When we return, Rendezvous takes the center stage. Do join us again. Now, business of the day. The Enugu State Ministry of Transport, under the consultancy of Chooks Dove Resources Nigeria Limited, have embarked on demolition of illegal structures and evacuation of vehicles parked along Ugwoba Oji River in Enugu Onitsha Expressway. Chimaroke Ugu monitored the exercise for Sunday Rendezvous.
Prior to the demolition exercise, the Enugu State Ministry of Transport had issued a 3-week ultimatum for residents to dismantle structures obstructing vehicular movement along the road and for transporters to repack heavy-duty lorries into the government-approved park. Conducting the demolition exercise, the Managing Director of Chooks Dove Resources stated that the demolition was prompted due to the failure of the residents to adhere to government directives. He maintained the resolution of Governor Peter Mbah to decongest the roads and allow free flow of human and vehicular movement in and out of the state.
The state government look at it and frown at it and ask us to see the much we can do to make sure that if you are coming from Anambra, the first place you are going to meet is that Ugwoba. That is where welcome to Enugu State is. And if you didn't meet that place well, it tells a lot of negative stories and negative impact of our state. That is why you can see we started that operation from there. We'll also graduate to 9 Mile. 9 Mile is another area. A lot of issues, a lot of blockage, a lot of congestion, a lot of accidents happen due to recklessness of drivers.
We have made every necessary information to tell them to leave the road. We serve them notice 14 days, we give extra 7 days before we come today to make sure we evacuate all those things from the road so that people can now be having free movement.
The chairman, National Union of Road Transport Workers, Oji River, expressed satisfaction at the exercise as it will reduce traffic congestion in the area and security threats.
Some people, they come in the night, they tip drivers for diesel, they tip trampoline. but if you tip you no go see. But you beg the driver, then they enter inside the leather park. Security there. If you put motor, nothing will happen with your motor. Anytime we reach, I beg them the north.
The demolition exercise will continue in other parts of the state.
And after the demolition exercise, what next? Of course, we expect to see the social benefits on the community. Moving on, when a man serves and bows out of office, having completed his service year in goodwill, even his children will also reap from his good legacy. This is the story of four-time former NTA General Manager Jerry Ugu as he gives out his daughter's hand in marriage. Okechukwu Agubama was the eye of Sunday Rendezvous at that wedding ceremony held in Enugu.
That was the expression by former general manager of NTA Enugu Network Center, Jerry Ugu, as he gives out his last daughter hand in marriage to Samuel Nchong. Friends, well-wishers, and family members of both families were on hand, especially the NTA family, to celebrate and felicitate with their former boss and wife in an occasion of their daughter's wedding. Officiating minister of the Dominion City Church, Enugu, harped on the need for the couple to acknowledge that marriage is transitional.
Because the emphasis in marriage in every covenant is multiplication, not addition.
Exchange of marital vows take the center stage as the couple were blessed to have a blissful home. Service over, guests moved to the reception arena where they were served with various sumptuous meal as both families entered the arena in a grand style. Here comes the newlywed. The couple described their union as God's ordained.
She's beautiful in, out. She's a hard-working woman, and I love her very much.
He's a very calm person, principled, understanding, and very hardworking. I would say God bless me with one of the best.
Parents and well-wishers prayed for God's manifestation upon their lives.
I pray for them because I wedded 40 years ago this year, and I know that family life is give and take, and having watched two of them for a while, I believe they are going to stand up and make it.
I pray that God will bless them, and I pray that in everything they do, that it will be successful. You see, Uju is my last daughter, and I am very, very happy today.
Should love themselves as Christ loved them. If they go with that, they will succeed as myself and my wife succeeded.
God will prosper them, and it will all go well with them, and they will live in the fear of the Lord.
I carried Uju, so she's like a daughter to me. I can't wish for anything less than for God to crown her with children, as many as they can afford to take care of.
We have labored in NTA and required at appropriate time. And now our offsprings have joined another generation. It's always a thing of joy.
The wedding featured activities that thrilled the guests as they danced.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step, but the journey of love begins with yes, I do, when you find that perfect person who matches your vibe. Congratulations to the newlywed. May God bless your union. On special assignment, correspondent brings us a report on subtle abuse children go through in society today and tips to improve on parent-child relationship for a better society. The report.
Why is look at the teacups you used to eat since morning. Why are they still here?
They cannot do these things now.
You cannot do this, so who will do it?
The nanny will do it.
Where is the nanny?
She not come to work today.
Okay, so she did not come to work. We will stay in debt all day.
This replicates the subtle abuse children go through when not properly groomed for life challenges.
Child abuse has multiple angles. There is also, apart from the physical abuse that we all notice and see, there's also the one called neglect. Neglect includes neglecting children, giving them opportunity to participate in issues that concern them, and allowing them to get the right skills. When we talk about education, we often would think education from the perspective of going to formal schools, but there are still education that relates to allowing a child to understand the cultural background where they are growing up, what is expected. While children have rights, they also have responsibilities.
Raising a child without the basic knowledge in skills and chores is an ill wind that blows no one any good.
I wanted to learn reading because, as you can see now, we're on holidays and my aunt is a baker, so I wanted to learn a skill, so when I perfect it, I could sell cakes and help myself and my family.
The imbalance would be that we would have children who are not responsible when they become adults, because the sense of knowing that you are supposed to wash plates or wash your clothes every other day helps you to build that sense of responsibility. This is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to pack my things. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. It helps children to build that sense of responsibility. And when children are not able to have this responsibility, that's where we start talking about being irresponsible.
Can an old dog actually learn new tricks?
Learning is what we know that it starts from the cradle to the grave. People can actually learn at any given time once they have realized that they have a deficiency or maladjustment or inappropriate behavior. They can relearn or unlearn what they have learned, and then they trace their way back and become better. So all they need to do is to have, one, an environment where they are loved, that is genuineness. Secondly is an environment where they are understood. We can talk about this as empathy. And then the last one is on an environment where there is unconditional positive regard, where children are loved.
Growing up as a child, it made me I felt like I was maltreated. I felt terrible. I felt like they were disturbing me, but now I'm grateful for all they taught me.
Since no one knows the end from the beginning, efforts should be made to churn out adults well equipped and independent to rule their world.
Wow. And for parents, it is time to improve your parent-child relationship to really get to know your kid better. Now, before the latest flood alert due to the release of water from the Lagdo Dam in Cameroon, Enugu State had received warning of prolonged rainfall that could lead to flooding this year by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency. In response to the warnings, the state government had taken some measures to address the imminent environmental challenges envisaged. Susan Eze reviews incidences of flooding in the state and plans to mitigate future occurrence.
That the people living along the flood-prone areas in Enugu State are worried and anxious at this time is an understatement. This is because while the people are still making plans on how to survive the predictions from NIMET that there would be prolonged rains in the state this year, the new alert about the release of water from Lagdo Dam came in, and the people are indeed worried, considering what they have had to go through due to flooding in the past.
For the people in Ogurugu, Ojo, Iga communities in Uzuwani, Okpanko in Aninri, and those in many other communities across Enugu State that are within the erosion and flood channels, these are tough times. These people have become perpetual victims of flooding anytime it occurs.
This is my farm, both cassava farm, rice farm, all flooded here.
In 2022, over 30,000 households were displaced in Ozowani alone, as worst-hit communities contended with their plight They also had to play host to fleeing victims of the same flood from neighboring Kogi and Anambra states. With several environmental challenges bugging communities in Enugu State, particularly erosion and flooding, the state government, in a bid to forestall a repeat of such devastations, recently set up a task force with a mandate to assist in controlling and mitigating the impact of flooding.
Also started radio jingles, sensitization programs. Most buildings that are built on the waterways, whether by license or not licensed, there may be some measures that we take in to make sure that water flows well to avoid loss of lives, property and economic states.
Identifying global warming and climate change as part of the underlying factors responsible for massive flooding in recent years, experts suggest prioritizing climate actions by government as well as attitudinal change.
The use of fossil fuels should completely be discouraged, because that is the major source from where these green gases are coming from, beyond every other factor.
To checkmate the devastation the Lagdo Dam causes to Nigeria each time the gates are opened, experts suggest that a water retention dam in Nigeria will not only receive the surging waters and prevent flooding, it can also be harnessed to generate electricity and irrigate farms.
And we do hope and pray that efforts of the government will be fruitful someday to really address the issue of perennial flooding confronting all of us. And on that note, we want to thank you for being with us on Rendezvous tonight. Keep a date with us same time next week for another episode. Good night.
Thank you.